What's going on, freak athletes? You just got your Nordic Hyper. Let's unbox it. Whoa! All right, guys, step one, tighten the pre-assembled main frame. You have wrenches that we provided, but if you have your own, as shown above, you can just use those to speed up the process. Points to tighten are going to be this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. They may already feel tight, but make sure you go through each of them to maximize stability. Everything you need for step two is shown right here. In this step, we're going to be attaching the wheelbase to the back of the Hyper. Simply lift up the Hyper until you hear a click on the side of the blue knob. Pull this white knob until you hear the green pin engage. Loosen the red knob until you see this window up here. Pull this thing to make that happen. Simply lift the mainframe until it's resting upright. Take your wheelbase, make sure the wheels are facing you, and line up the holes. Take your washer, bolt, and nut. Bolt and washer go facing up until it's slightly hanging off there. Take your washer, put it on there, then your bolt, and hand tighten. Repeat the process on the other side. Now it's time to take the wrenches and tighten. Use the open side on the inside and the closed side on the outside. Turn until fully tighten. Repeat the process on both sides. Everything you need for step three is shown right here. What you're gonna do next is gently bring down the Hyper. We're going to lift it from the other side. Take your front U-base and we're gonna slide it on just like we did on the back side. Make sure the feet are facing down. The bottom of the feet should look like this. Next, let's install the bolts. Make sure this comes up from the bottom. Repeat the process on the other side and tighten. To finish this step, simply take your Hyper and bring it all the way down. Everything you need for step four is shown right here. In this step, we're going to be attaching the back extension frame. It has a pre-installed nut and washer. Simply remove and slide it through that hole. Then take a washer and your bolt and hand tighten. Take your other bolt and slide it all the way through and put a nut and washer on the other side. Now, tighten. Everything you need for step five is shown right here. Next, we're gonna be installing the footplate. The way you install the footplate is the red knob faces back, away from the Hyper. Then you take your bolt and washer and slide it onto the most bottom hole of the footplate and line it up with this hole right here. With one hand, hold it in the back, and the other hand, install the bolt. Next, do the same on the other side. Next, we're going to install the vertical storage bar. Take your bolt and washer, slide it from the inside, then line it up and hand tighten. Now, tighten. Everything you need for step six is shown right here. Grab your Hyper by the handle, store it up until it's leaning on the storage pin. Take your bolt, slide your washer on there, and take your plastic spacer and put it on. For some orders out there, the spacer is built into the plastic piece. So you will have one less spacer in your kit because it's already built in. On the bottom side, slide it through until you see it poking out the other side. Then take another washer and put it on there. Next step is going to be taking your back extension pad. Make sure the Velcro is facing the outside. You're gonna line the holes up and hand tighten. Then you're gonna take your red knob, a washer, and put it on like that. Slide it through and line it up the hole on the other side and have it so there is movement available. And repeat on this side. This step, you do not need the wrench. Simply hand tighten the bottom knobs and loosen to slide and tighten to lock into place the back extension pads. The reason for the back extension pads to slide is based off of mode. Everything you need for step seven is shown right here. In this step, we're going to be installing the hip thrust mechanism. Bring your Hyper back down, take your hip thrust attachment, and we're going to install it in this space right here. The way you install the hip thrust attachment is the bolt goes in this hole right here. Simply take your bolt and line it up with that hole until you see it pop out the other side, like that. Take your washer and your nut and hand tighten. Then take your wrenches and make sure not to over tighten. All you need to do is turn it 3 times, like this. A good test to know if you tightened it correctly is this needs to be able to move freely while still being secure. To complete this step, take your hitch pin, line it up on the top hole right here, and slide it all the way through, put it in storage mode. Everything you need for step 8 is shown right here. In this step, we're going to be installing the bottom ankle rollers. The way you install this is you take your black rod, make sure the long side is the one that slides into the hole. Take your 2 ankle rollers and slide them on. Take your big washer and bolt and slide it through. Line it up with the hole and hand tighten. Repeat on the other side. If you can't get the hole to line up, push on the foam a little bit and hand tighten. Now use your wrenches and make sure they're fully tight. Everything you need for step 9 is shown right here. In this step, we're going to be installing the Nordic pad frame. Flip the Nordic pad upside down, take your Nordic pad frame and line it up with the holes. Make sure you do not line it up like this, where this sticks off the edge. So have it lined up with the holes, your bolt and washer, and hand tighten. Next, tighten. To install the Nordic pad, we're going to need to slide this into this window right here. The way you would do that is line it up, slide it in. Secure, take the yellow knob and tighten. What not to do is slide this in when it's facing back like this. Step 10, you're going to take your top ankle roller, make sure the holes are facing back. Slide it into this tube right here, pull the knob until you hear it click. Pull up to make sure it's secure. Now to remove the wobble, take your Allen key and tighten this bolt. And for the final and hardest step, take your front loading bars, slide them onto here until they are fully tightened. For explosive GHD setups, always remember to load weight plates in the front for stability. These weights are only used for GHD setups and not for any other mode. Important safety note, your model does not require any weight to be loaded in the back, only used for vertical storage. For a full guide on how to use the Nordic Hyper, click the link below.